Let's solve inequalities using multiplication and division. Remember that solving inequalities is just like solving equations. You use the inverse operations to isolate the variable. We've talked in previous videos about having a wall here. You can put the wall right through the inequality sign. And then basically you want to get the variable by itself. So in this first one, my choice would be to divide both sides by 4. And I get k is greater than 6. Now, here's what you need to do. You need to graph your solution. So that would be an open circle at 6. So we'll put a 0 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to put an open circle at 6. And then the k values are greater, so that goes to the right, and I do not close that in. Check to make sure that you're right. Do not choose the end point. Pick a value greater than 6. So how about we pick 8 and put it in here. 4 times 8 is 32. 32 is greater than 24. That one works. Okay? That's just how easy this is. Let's go to the next one. You might want to pause the video and try these. Here, I'm going to divide both sides by 5. That gives me negative 10 is greater than or equal to G. I think that's a G. Maybe it's a Q. That's a Q. All right. Make that a Q. Okay? And then this to me is confusing. So I'm going to flip it up like a pancake. Scoop underneath it. Flip the whole thing over. So I'm going to write this as Q is less than or equal to negative 10. You'll notice that these switch sides and the inequality sign flipped over. So I need to find negative 10 on here. So let's just let negative 10 be right here. So this would be negative 9, negative 8, negative 11. I'm going to put a circle at negative 10 because that's my focal point. My arrow is going to go to the left, and I'm going to color that in. Okay? Again, when you go to check this, pick a value down here. So how about we pick negative 12? Okay? 5 times negative 12 is negative 60. Negative 50 is greater than negative 60. Check. That works. Okay, for this next one, we're going to multiply both sides by 4/3. Okay? These are going to cancel out, and that's going to give me G is greater than, that's 8, 9, 101 over 3, which is, what, 37? So G is greater than 37. So I find 37. We'll just let 37 be right here. Open circle, arrow going this way. So now let's pick a value. Let's pick something that's going to be easy to use here. So let's pick 40. 37, 38, 39, 40. That's in the range. So 3/4 times 40 is greater than 27. That gives me a 10. That gives me 30 is greater than 27. Check. That works. Now, there's only one difference. If you multiply or divide both sides of an inequality by a negative number, you have to flip the inequality sign. If you leave it the same, the answer that you get is not true. It will not check. When you go to check it, it will not work. So when you multiply or divide by a negative, we need to flip the inequality. Now, caution here. That does not mean that you change the inequality sign just because you happen to see a negative sign in the problem. That doesn't work. So here's going to be some examples. You need to pause the video and do these, and on each one ask yourself to flip or not to flip. All right, ready? Let's go through these. Divide both sides by negative 12. Flip or not to flip? Flip. Okay, and negative 7. So pick a value that's less than negative 7. Negative 8, negative 9, negative 10. How about negative 10? Negative 10 times negative 12 is positive 120. 120 is greater than 84. Correct. Okay, next one. Get the x by itself. Multiply both sides by negative 3. Flip or not to flip? Flip. All right, and that's going to give me 24 is greater than or equal to x. which is the same thing as x is less than or equal to 24. Pick any value less than 24. How about 0? And put it in here. 0 divided by negative 3 is 0. Negative 8 is less than or equal to 0. Checks. Ready? Next one. Going to divide both sides by 7. Flip or not flip? No. Just because there's a negative there doesn't mean that you flip it. So I leave it the same, and I'm going to get x is greater than negative 6. Pick a value that's greater than negative 6. How about 0? 7 times 0 is 0. 0 is greater than negative 42. Okay, now do you see how this is working? All right, this next one's a little tricky. What is the number in front of the x even though you don't see it? It is a 1. So I'm going to need to divide both sides by negative 1 because I want it to be just an x, not a negative x. Flip or not to flip? Flip. That's going to give me negative 10 is less than x, which when I flip it over is x is greater than or equal to negative 10. Pick a value that's greater than negative 10. How about 0? Put a 0 in here. 10 is greater than or equal to the opposite of 0, which is true. Ready? This one. Divide both sides by 8. Flip or not to flip? Nope, no flipping here. X is less than negative 3. Pick a value that's less than negative 3. How about negative 4? 8 times negative 4 is negative 32, which is less than negative 24. Last one. Ready? Divide by negative 0.25. Okay? Flip or don't flip? Flip. Do it right away. Okay? Negative 17 is less than h, which is the same thing as saying h is greater than negative 17. Pick a value that is greater than negative 17. How about 0? Negative 0.25 times 0 is 0. 4.25 is greater than 0. And that is it.